Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies. Oh boy. A month or so back, I made a video where I was skeptical of how Vanguard Zombies was going to turn out, given the strict development time Treyarch has been given, and it turns out I was right to be worried. Vanguard Zombies has to be single-handedly the worst received Zombies launch in the history of the series. Even Black Ops 4 had a more positive response, despite being a nearly unplayable mess on release. However, I've always been wowed by how me and the Zombies community's opinion on most things always manage to differ, and here it's no exception. I don't hate Vanguard Zombies. In fact, I've actually been kind of enjoying it.
You what?
Chill. Unlike maps like Voyage, Moon, and most of IW Zombies, I actually completely understand most of the backlash to Anfang, and I'm not exactly super pleased with the map myself. But despite what most YouTubers or their brainwashed audiences incapable of independent thought will tell you, there are quite a lot of things to like about Anfang. Without any more stalling, let's talk about this map. So for a series first, Vanguard Zombies is and will more than likely continue to be the only Call of Duty Zombies mode without a round-based experience. And I'm mixed on this. On one hand, I really liked the round-based formula, and it was what made the series so addicting for me and many other fans. On the other hand, it's really cool to see Treyarch want to innovate past their archaic roots and transform Zombies into a more layered and in-depth mode. They first stepped out of the comfort zone of Outbreak, and it was a solid mode for the most part. However, its pacing was a drag, some of the objectives were annoying, and it paled in comparison to its other round-based counterparts. Here, in Anfang, its mechanics are heavily modeled from Outbreak. Not only does it have the same point system, but the mode has you doing different objectives to progress through rounds. However, I'm going to say it right now, I think Outbreak walked so Anfang could run. While it bears a lot of similarities, Anfang is still different enough from its older brother. You start out in a central hub where you have all of your classic zombie necessities such as the Pack-a-Punch, Mystery Box, Crafting Table, and perks. Now I want to go over some tiny changes real quick. But before I do so, I want to quickly mention how much I love the atmosphere this game is going for. It's clearly going for a more demonic, hellish vibe, and as previous experiences have proved to us, hellish visuals and COD Zombies go hand in hand. Back on topic, the Pack-a-Punch has stayed the same mostly from Cold War, except the initial cost has been changed from 5,000 points to 7,500. I initially thought this was a pointless change, but after playing Anfang, if it wasn't set up this way, the player would likely have a packed gun by round 2, so I understand the balancing there. And the weapon tier system from Cold War has been incorporated into the pack machine. For example, tier 1 pack makes your weapon rare, and tier 3 pack makes your weapon legendary. I don't know how I feel about this since it removes what was a pretty cool mechanic in Cold War, but it feels nice having the Pack-a-Punch be your main upgraded option again. Instead of having to worry about saving up for salvage or looking for ether wrenches, I can instead just worry about packing, which brings me back to the old days. Also, instead of having regular salvage and heavy salvage, there's only one form of salvage used to buy both armor and other goodies from the crafting table. This is a nice change since I personally didn't like having to keep up with 3 forms of currency in Cold War, but I do think these prices need to be scaled back a bit. In Cold War, you were practically swimming in salvage. But here, it's not dropped nearly as frequently, which makes things like monkey bombs and self-revives nearly always unaffordable. The perk machines in Cold War resembled soda cans to reflect the vibe of that time period, and here, the perks are now perk fountains that you use chalices to drink from. I assume this was done because of the demonic, otherworldly atmosphere Vanguard Zombies is going for, and personally, I'm a huge fan. Not to mention the perk fountains themselves look sick. But looks aside, how do the perks work in this game? Well, instead of loading in with your perks already being upgraded like in Cold War, here you have to upgrade your perks individually to tier 4 each match, with the base perk being free. Not to play devil's advocate here, but I prefer this change. Having all 10 perks tier 5 in Cold War made you a nearly unkillable god until like round 30 to 40. Here, however, your perk upgrades are a part of the natural setup process, which helps ensure you're always on equal footing with the zombies. But that isn't the only change. The perks have also been modified to provide a simple stat increases as opposed to giving you multiple side abilities. While a lot of people aren't too happy with this either, I like to think of these perks as different entities than the traditional perk machines we're all used to. While they may bear the same symbols, they are all different when it comes to both design and identity. From a gameplay perspective, I don't mind the change as well. I feel like it makes it easier for a newcomer to get a full understanding of the perks mechanics. More health? Fiendish Fortune. More critical damage? Well, diabolical damage. You get the point. So yeah, while the perks we had this time around are different, I'm fond of the change. Field upgrades also make a return from Cold War, and they are a major downgrade. They're basically the tier 1 versions of their counterparts on Cold War, and that makes really all of them kinda worthless except Ether Shroud. Even that has about 3 to 4 seconds of usage. Last little thing before we get into the main gameplay of Anfang is the Covenant system. After completing a round, you gain a heart that you can sacrifice for an upgrade. As you get higher and higher in rounds, you stand a greater chance of having a legendary upgrade available to purchase. This is a really cool system that adds more flavor to the gameplay. These covenants allow for different playstyles, and the combination of specific abilities can result in loads of fun. With the addition of more upgrades, this system is likely to get better and better. So now with all of the essential gameplay mechanics out of the way, what do you do in Anfang? Well, like Outbreak, you're doing specific objectives. At the time of this review, there are 3: Blitz, Harvest, and Transmit. These objectives are randomly selected, much like Outbreak. Starting with Blitz, my personal favorite, the main goal is just to hold out and kill zombies, much like the holdout in Outbreak. Nothing much to say here. Simple, fast-paced, arcadic fun. Next is Harvest, where you have to collect runestones from fallen zombies to deposit into Sin Eaters. While sometimes it takes a little too long, I definitely like Harvest as an objective. Then there's Transmit, where you have to escort a floating device to an area. I have mixed feelings on Transmit. It's really fun on co-op and provides a fun challenge. But on solo, it's an abrupt difficulty curve since the game expects you to walk slowly to a tight area with super sprinters while also watching from all angles. And don't even get me started if you have Transmit in the apartment area. Talk about a death sentence. The areas you're sent to consist of parts of the main hub, which is based off of the multiplayer map, the Red Cross, Hotel Royale, another multiplayer map, another map I don't know the name of that I just call Windmill, and the one and only Shinonuma. The playable parts of the Red Cross are alright, except apartments. Fuck everything about apartments. The top of Hotel Royale surprisingly makes for a cool zombies area. Windmill is really open and provides enough space for all types of objective gameplay. And Shinonuma, it's Shinonuma. Obviously it's the best. Also, I love the cool hellish redesign they gave it for this mode. And what else is there? Well, that's it. Yep, and it's here where we get into the main problem plaguing Vanguard zombies: replayability. Now, to Vanguard Zombies' credit, they differentiate their objectives by having you randomly set in different areas to keep things fresh. But unfortunately, there's only so many times you can escort a floating zombie head or deposit runestones before things get stale. And I'm sorry, but high rounds of this game are a balancing nightmare. If you're not using a shotgun, your weapon practically deals no damage. And I know the round difficulty isn't the same as round based, but super sprinters who can down you like it's nothing on round 14 is a huge turnoff. A few other little things that I missed before I move on are 1. The Stormkriegers. Whoever gave a zombie a minigun was on some serious drugs that day. It's as annoying as it sounds, having a literal sponge gradually rid you of your health from a distance when you have super sprinters to worry about. Secondly, the Boomschreiers. Literally just tormentors given a new name. However, unlike tormentors, blowing them up actually damages nearby zombies, and doing that is strangely satisfying. And finally, Exfil. Not having a timer to worry about and being able to activate it at any time makes exfilling 10 times better than in Cold War. Before I give my final thoughts, I should go over the story. If you have no idea what the fuck is going on, I have a short 3-minute video explaining all the story content we have so far, but I'll briefly summarize things here. A Nazi named Von List teams up with a supernatural Dark Eater entity named Cortifex, which gives him the power to raise the dead. It's up to us, our Dark Eater companions, and Gabriel Kraft to stop Von List from turning the tides of the war with his zombie army. I really like this setup. Von List has the potential to be a pretty memorable villain. He reminds me of Ultimus Richthofen, except less maniacal and insane, and more stern, serious, and infinitely determined. I also love how everything ties back to Endstation from Cold War. I was initially worried there wasn't room in the timeline to have a prequel, but not only does none of this interfere with Cold War's continuity so far, but it also works really well as a standalone tale. I didn't mention this earlier, but the field upgrades are actually tied to your Dark Eater allies who talk to you just like Requiem did in Cold War. I like all of these gods so far, and their distinct personalities make them all the more fun. My 2 favorites are Syraxis because of her playful attitude, and Invictor because he's a crazy former general who craves blood. All in all, when it comes to the story, Good shit, Treyarch. Keep it up. So that's Vanguard Zombies so far, and it's interesting. Starting with the positives, I love how Treyarch is truly innovating with their mode, I love the changes to the perk system, everything story-wise is sick, and I don't mind any of the objectives. Also, the pacing is miles above Outbreak. But high rounds are broken, weapon balancing needs some serious work, and there's not a lot to do. But honestly, I have huge hopes for Vanguard Zombies. This is a really solid foundation, and with future content drops and patches, Anfang will probably be one of my favorite COD zombie experiences out there. But we'll have to wait and see what the future holds. I also want to commend Treyarch for the massive workload they've had to endure and are still enduring. Having their team spread thin across multiple projects and still being able to make a playable zombies mode is a great feat on its own, and not a lot of people are giving them enough credit. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Want more like it? No problem. I try and have a new review out every Sunday, and I post zombies content pretty frequently. Please like, subscribe, and as always, I will see you guys next time. Peace out.